Before Steve even thought about going to the Hollowed Asylum, Steve had one problem. That cursed blood sword. Yeah, Steve could have kept it. Sword kept the rats and monsters away. But too powerful. Too dangerous. Steve don't need that kind of power. Power like that changes a rat. Makes you forget who you are. So Steve put the pilgrimage on hold. Had to deal with that sword first. First thing Steve tried? Smashing it. Simple plan, right? Steve grabbed a rock. It didn't work. Bigger rock? Still not. Acid, rust spells, even tossed it in a forge. Sword didn't even crack. So, Steve did what any genius rat would do. Steve threw it in the ocean. Only problem? The ocean didn't really like that. Whole thing started twisting, pulling down. A black hole formed. Sucked it all in. Next thing Steve knew, Venom Swamp. Yeah, that one's on Steve. Oops. Steve couldn't just leave it there. But then the snakes came. And the bugs. All crawling toward it like it was whispering to him. Now that's bad news. Real bad. So Steve went down there. Now, Steve ain't strong. But Steve ain't no coward either. Venom Swamp, toxic air, poison beast, and worst of all, the death curse that was created by the sword was just hanging over everything. Steve should have died there. I guess Lord Death remembered Steve's name. See, Steve's already been cursed once before. And you can't curse what's already damned. That poison mixed with the death curse created things. Spider, snake-like hybrid creatures. Not spider, not snake, just nightmares. Steve climbed down that endless pit anyways. And there, at the bottom, Steve saw her. Queen of Venom. The guardian heart of the land. And beside her, the blood sword. Lodged deep in another creature. Looked like the queen, but smaller. Turns out, her sister. Sword had pierced right through her serpent hide, killing her slowly. Queen tried to keep her alive, fed her these black egg things. Turns out, they were soul eggs. Made from, well, captured like me, and possibly hollowed. Creatures she killed. Heart of the Land gave her that power to twist souls into food. It kept the death curse away, but only for a while. Steve thought maybe it could cure Steve too. So Steve tried talking to her. Bad idea. She didn't talk. She bit. Killed Steve. Over and over again. But Death Curse already owned Steve. Couldn't turn Steve's soul into another one of her eggs. Guess she got bored after, what, 100 deaths? Maybe 1,000? Point is, she stopped. So Steve told her, Steve needs that sword. And she let Steve take it. Maybe pity. Or maybe just tired. Her sister was already cursed. Same as Steve. Only weaker. Didn't hurt others like Steve. Lucky her. Steve tried not to think about it. Steve don't fall for spider snake ladies. Steve don't like spiders. Nope. Queen stays with her sister. Steve left him there. didn't want to die again anyways. Those bites burned like molten iron. Before leaving, Steve heard rumors. Whispers about Venom Swamp. Said there's a path to the first tree somewhere down there. Maybe the bones of the trainer titan rested beside it. Steve don't know who buried him, but if that titan's real, Steve wants to meet him. It would be like meeting Steve's real father. After all, Steve's other father went out for eggs and cigarettes a long time ago. Never saw him again. Took Steve ages to climb back up that pit. But Steve reached the top. Steve sealed it off. Least Steve could do. Didn't want anyone finding the Queen's sister or suffering the same fate. So now, Steve's stuck again with that damn blood sword. Guess Lord Death wants Steve to carry that sin forever. Last hope's a blacksmith in the cathedral outside the Living Woods. Old place in Rattenvale. Been, what, 1,000 moons since Steve's been home? Maybe the rats there are still sane. Or maybe not.